Answering, we could talk about that. You want to talk about the draft? That'll be over a week from today. Done. The Niners will have 11 new players or something. We can talk about that. We can talk about quarterbacks. I'm always down to talk about Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, whatever. I think the thing with the Niners right now is they're looking like Leak your first, Phoenix your second. They're looking like, I think John Lynch is looking like they have a franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy. I feel like that is jumping the gun. It's great that they have Brock Purdy, but I think the way they should look at Brock Purdy is he's their backup quarterback until he proves more. It's great to have Brock Purdy. You have him under contract for 3 more years, but I mean, is he not this team's Nick Foles? Nick Foles got hot. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, and the Eagles were like, hey, man, thanks a lot. You did your job. You're still the backup. The Niners would have given Nick Foles a lifetime contract. So Brock Purdy, great story, got hot. You don't know what his future holds. He's still got a backup skill set. He's a good fit in the system, but your search for a franchise quarterback is not over. And I think another thing, a franchise quarterback may not necessarily be on this roster. It could be none of the 3. You got one guy who's a very good backup for this team. You got 2 guys who are complete unknowns. Well, actually, Sam Darnold's not an unknown. He sucks. Trey Lance is an unknown at best. So keep adding. Look at the draft. You got to keep looking at quarterbacks. All right, Leak, Phoenix, Karan, and John. Let's get into it. Leak.
Let's do it.
What's going on, man?
Man, listen, I've been waiting all week to talk to you. As soon as I seen Cohn phone, I set the notifications on. I was like, it's time to go.
Hey, well, you batting lead off today, baby.
I was going to go in on Kyle, but we all know that Kyle ain't going to listen. He don't care.
True.
I feel like we're comfortable being complacent. And it stems from him, but all the players are too. You hear the quotes that Debo saying, oh, we don't need a quarterback. We don't need a quarterback. I'm like, if you didn't need a quarterback, you would have been won a Super Bowl. Stop it.
Stop.
Fred saying, I'd rather lose in the playoffs than be a losing team. That's a losing mentality.
Yeah.
Y'all need to do better. At the end of the day, whether we got the quarterback or not, we need to do better. We're not being complacent. We're so comfortable with the fact that we're winning playoff games and no Super Bowls. We're like, whatever, we'll get it next year. Your window's coming up. Kittle's 30. Trent Williams probably going to be 35. We're only getting older, and the window's getting closer and closer to just getting shut, okay? And then back on the trade thing, I feel like our whole fan base has, like, given up on this kid. Yeah. And it's just like...
He's 22.
The man's 22.
He's lost 2 games in his career. He's lost 2 starts in his career. 2.
And crazy part is, bro, the whole entire fan base knew he was a project.
Yeah, that was the book on him.
Why?
And then you put him on the field and they're like, wait a second, he's a project. Get him out of here. It's like, whoa. That was the book on him.
And then it's like, you want him to be a quarterback, but then you run at him like Lamar Jackson, and we all know that's not his biggest skill set. But in the one game they let him be a quarterback against the Texans,
he won.
Go crazy. He won. Crazy. But then he averages 13 runs a game. He is never going to be successful being a quarterback if you run him like up the middle 13 times a game and hope for the best. That's not the recipe of success. Yeah. And even if we got Lamar, hold on, now you can get to Lamar. Whatever. Purdy didn't get that. When Purdy got in, he was playing Jimmy, bro.
Quarterback.
He's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we're giving up and we're falling for the flash in the pan. We did this with Jimmy in 2017. Yeah. He went on 5 straight, and then we gave him $100 million. What?
And again, it was like, look at how good the offense is. 300 yards a game, statistically great. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's 5 games.
Next season came back towards ACL and wasn't the same sense, and then choked the Super Bowl.
And Brock already got hurt. Brock towards UCL. And they're like, it doesn't matter. He's our guy. It's like, dude, wait a second.
And that's what's killing me. I'm like, he's a quarterback, and you're banking your whole franchise on his right arm that you got hurt in the championship game.
That's
and you're going to trade Trey Lance when he's perfectly healthy, been in the system for 3 years.
That's right.
And now you just want to give up on him because, we got Brock. Well, no, Brock don't play this year. You're going to put it in Sam Darnold's hand? The man that said he was seeing ghosts against the Patriots?
That's right.
I'm not. Kyle, John Lynch, Jed York, that yes man up there leading this franchise. Somebody got to have some accountability. Papa York, somebody. Eddie DeBartolo, like, somebody got to come in and lead this ship. Because right now, we got a general manager that wants to do one thing. A head coach that wants to do his thing, but kind of listening to John Lynch. And then they talking about Kirk Cousins. And I'm like, why are y'all so comfortable with mediocre? Mediocre. You passed up on Mahomes for Jimmy. You're probably going to pass up on Trey Lance on draft day, God forbid. If Trey Lance and Brandon Ayuk get traded, I don't even know what to do. You feel me? Because this is like, we got the players to be successful, but you give it away for draft picks for unknown commodities. But when you got an unknown commodity on your team that can play, you don't want to play him.
Right.
You got to make it make sense, bro. Because even if they go out and draft a quarterback or whatever, it's still an unproven commodity.
Correct.
Purdy, he's still unproven. Yes,
correct.
He did have a couple good games. Clap it up. What is he going to do now when the defense is just? When the defense coordinators know that you're not going to throw to the right side of the field, you're going to throw to the middle and the left.
That's right.
So it's just like we falling for this hype, and it's just like we possibly. I'm not even going to jump and say he Mahomes, but the kid has the drive to be great. That's not something you can teach. That's something that is in him. And the fact that you're just going to give up on that, throw him to another team, and God forbid it's in the same conference. If he goes out there and balls, say for the Vikings, he go out there and ball and he put up crazy numbers. Kyle's getting fired. Period. Point.
No question. And real quick. The reason that the Niners dynasty extended from the 80s to the 90s is because the Buccaneers made this mistake. They had Steve Young. Yep. He was 3-16 for them. They traded him for like a second and a fourth to the Niners, and they fucked up. And they can never live that down. Whoever did that, I mean, that's the number one thing on his football epitaph. Traded Steve Young for nothing.
And they're too giddy to get rid of Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no reason for you to want to get rid of a kid that this young that wants to improve. Because most kids would just, damn, they giving up on me. Fuck it, bro. I'm just gonna give up. Trey Lance is out here balling, ignoring all the noise. He's focused on his craft. As much as he may not be perfect, he's striding to be good. He's not being complacent like everybody else on the team that ain't won a bowl. Every single one of y'all, if y'all listening, you don't have a ring on your finger. There's nothing on your finger to show for the success that you had. You had the best defense in the league. 17 points a game. Clap it up. You lost. It doesn't matter no more. What are you going to do when shit hits
Also, you gave up 31 points in the NFC Championship game. 31.
Hey, and that falls on them. They could be mad. Yeah. They can feel any type of way about how we feel. But at the end of the day,
they can't blame Brock Purdy. They can't blame Brock Purdy for them giving up 31 points in the NFC Championship game.
Sure can't. And Josh Johnson came in and looked like a scrub. But that falls on your head coach. He's the one that signed him. So y'all want to be
You could have had Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip. There were so many guys you could have called, and you called up Josh because he knew the system.
Anybody.
Good guy.
And it's just like, you guys are just, you got to get better. And I know that Kyle comes to you for Kyle comes to the players for like approval on things. Y'all are part of the problem.
Yeah.
Y'all are part of the problem. Y'all were the reason why Jimmy stayed here for 2 extra years because you don't want to start over and lose.
Right.
And you still were losing with Jimmy. You didn't go to the NFC Championship because of Jimmy. You went because of Purdy came in, filled in a role, and played that perfectly.
Yep.
And then as soon as he got hurt, that little flash in the pan is over with. Yep. And I don't know if we're going to get that same player back because now his throwing arm is shot. Whether he was waving his hands at Oracle Park or whatever, it don't matter. He's not throwing.
I think it's going to take a while. If he ever comes back to what he was, it's going to take a year. He could be cleared, but I don't think he's going to be throwing this year like he did last year. I think that's going to be down the line.
And that just don't make sense for them to just push this. Oh, Trey Lance. I know fielding calls cool or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Field the call, see what he's worth, but don't trade him. Because if you trade him, you giving up on potentially a great quarterback for what? Sam Darnold? Because he's the only healthy quarterback on the team. Once Trey Lance gets traded, or
the opportunity to draft another quarterback that you won't develop and you won't give a chance to, and you know what I mean? Like,
it's
you're just going to repeat yourself.
Cycle. It's going to be the same cycle over and over again. They're chasing each other's ass. It's just like Kyle's so far up he can't see what's right from wrong because he's put in the mindset where it's just like, oh, well, I can go get this newest cat. I can go get this. I can go get that.
Here's how I look at it. I feel like
still lose.
Kyle thinks he can get an endless string of quarterback. He can win with anyone. I think John is over here saying, dude, I don't want to do this forever. I want to go be an announcer. I want to win this Super Bowl and leave. Can we pick a quarterback? Can we pick a quarterback? Right? Kyle's on the other. But Kyle's on the other end. Kyle's on the other end, being like, I can make it work with Sam Darnold. No, dude, you can't. No, you can't.
No,
you can't.
His passing game is terrible. Yeah. Even on Madden, If Madden knows your passing game is terrible, your passing game is terrible, bro.
Leak, I got to
gotta
take
do
more
better.
calls, but you're killing it, man. You got anything else you want to finish up with?
They gotta do better. The biggest thing is complacency. They're stuck with being mediocre. Not even mediocre. They're good, but they're stuck with being just good. They're not trying to take
and they're
that next
proud of
step
it.
to be great. Yes, and I'm just like, you don't.
And
have
it's
a
all
ring.
about the quarterback too. They're like, you know what? We're a great story for a team that doesn't have a franchise quarterback. Like, I don't want to hear that
franchise
great
quarterback.
Yeah,
You
go
would
get
be a
it.
Hall of Fame story. You would literally have 3 rings on your finger if you had a quarterback on.
It's a built-in excuse. It's a built-in excuse.
And it's a terrible excuse, man.
Yeah,
They're going to learn from it. But appreciate you for having me on, man. Thank you. And I'm going to tune in. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, man. Later. That was a great call. Phoenix, you're up. Then Karan, John, Papa Dragon. What's up, Phoenix? Phoenix, man, you got the worst internet. But let's see. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. Hey, yeah, go ahead.
How about this internet? Okay, so I predicted that the 49ers would draft Trey Lance. I'm going to make another bold prediction here. And I could be wrong, and I hope I am. But and nobody's going to like this, but I honestly think that Kyle Shanahan's going to pull off the stupidest thing ever. Or Trey Lance is going to want to go back home to the Minnesota Vikings because that's his home and that's where his family is. He gets traded to the Minnesota Vikings. They get Kirk Cousins or a pick or both. And he succeeds with the Vikings because they have Justin Jefferson, Kyle Rudolph, a fantastic offensive line, maybe not the best defense, but a better coaching staff that's going to wait and just like help develop him. And this is what's going to happen. He's going to go to the NFC Championship or somewhere in the playoffs, beat the 49ers because he's as like pardon my language, but as a fuck you with a vengeance. And if that happens and Trey Lance gets a ring with the Vikings or another team, I'm sorry, but the 49ers, they're going to get blown up. Everyone's going to get fired. I mean, everybody. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, because it's like you had this dude. You had this guy. And you didn't know how to protect him. You didn't develop him. And now he beat Patrick Mahomes. He did what you guys could not do. And but you thought that you could do because you're arrogant pricks. I'm sorry, but these people, I'm sorry, but they need to see a proctologist because they have their heads.
Okay, all right. It's a little early on this Sunday to be getting so worked up, but I hear you. There's frustration here,
sorry.
But it's okay. Phoenix, it's good to see you, man. Anything else you want to say before we? Hey, look, real quick. What I want to say about what you're saying is, I hear you. Minnesota is a scary place to send him because he could succeed in Minnesota. They have Justin Jefferson there. They have T.J. Hawkinson. There's a lot of weapons, and if they actually commit to him, he could succeed, and the Niners could look foolish. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just wanted to say that because I'm like, this is that I hope because Trey Lance is a very great guy. He wants to learn. He wants to succeed, and that's why he came for the 49ers. And I remember when he was being drafted, saying this is the perfect situation for him. It actually wasn't. And,
I guess not.
I'm telling everybody exactly what you're saying. It's like, and not because I agree with you or I watch it. It's like, dude, Brock Purdy is not going to ever be the same guy after that shoulder injury. Not for at least another 2-3 years. And the 49ers are very impatient. They've been at this revenge tour for what, 5 years? Or something like that. That's and not one ring. That's disturbing. They get let go of Jim Harbaugh and get a ring. That's in the span of 4 or 5 years. But you're giving Kyle Shanahan 7, and you're making excuses for him. I'm saying I'm sorry. That's not how it's gonna work. But No, I honestly think that that the 49ers coaching staff and the organization is hanging in the balance depending on how Trey Lance succeeds. If he stays on the 49ers and he succeeds, then everybody keeps their job. But if he goes to the Minnesota Vikings or someone else and succeeds there, then everybody's gonna they're gonna lose their jobs. I'm sorry, and they should.
Good call, Phoenix. Good call, Phoenix. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you. Good stuff.
Okay.
All right, take care. J Mad says, when we getting Botan? Botan. I gotta reach out to him, man. I haven't heard from Botan in a minute. I would love to have him on the show. Karan.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. So, listen, do you think it's a coincidence that Brock Purdy the team doctors looked at him when he was at the training facility this week or last week, and then all of a sudden, coincidentally, the Trey Lance rumors, they were fielding calls? Do you think like there's some optimism on their part, or do you think that it's just purely coincidental?
I don't think it's coincidental. But again, I look at this in a kind of a bit of a conspiracy theory way. When you say like what the Niners want to do, my theory is that the Niners are not a united front, and that you got John with an agenda and Kyle with an agenda. And the way I see it is John is really into Brock and gung ho to trade Trey, which is defensible. And I think Kyle is a little bit caught in the middle. He's the one that wanted Trey. At the same time, he probably likes Brock too. But I think the fielding calls, well, that's John. Like who is the one that's so gung ho about, and then not just fielding calls, but like maybe leaking that you're fielding calls to Ian Rappaport. Like who's doing that? I'm guessing it's not Kyle, but I don't really know. That's the way I look at it. Not necessarily united front here.
And from their point of view, Kyle can say Jimmy was not what I wanted, and and John can go to Kyle. Well, Brock isn't what I wanted, right? And so in their
Trey
mind,
isn't what I wanted.
Or
Trey isn't what I wanted. Yeah.
Trey's not what I wanted.
So can't we compromise on Brock? And Kyle's like, yeah, he's good. I like him, but is he really our franchise quarterback? And I think John's like, yes. And Kyle's like, and I'm with Kyle. Dude, John gets a little excited because he won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson. And I think he feels, man, you just have a guy who can fit in the system and be carried by the team. And like, I don't know that you can do that anymore. You did it 22 years ago.
No, I wanted to share something with you. Since 2000 to 2022, where do you think the 49ers rank in wins, out of curiosity? So 22 years. I go like, what did Steve Young get injured? 1999, 1998?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I go post Steve Young era, 2000 to 2022. What do you think they are?
Pretty much in the middle.
Oh, dead in the middle. They're like 16th and 17th. Their win percentage, 48%. Now,
okay.
So they're 48% win percentage. So they're a 500 club team, right? And so where they are the outlier is the playoffs, because they've made the playoff 8 times.
And they always go deep.
They've won 12 playoff games.
Yeah, they always go deep. They're never one and done.
So in a business model, if you are like trending water, right? Because numbers don't lie, right? They are a 500 club essentially, or 48% win percentage, but they do so well in the playoffs. Wouldn't you think getting to the playoffs would mean more or matter more to that franchise than winning a championship? Because consistency is something that you have lacked the last 22 years.
Yeah, it's just sad that the 49ers have become that. It's sad.
Yeah, well, so listen,
but I don't root for this team. I just cover it, so it's not my problem.
No. So as a fan, I know a lot of people are like, it's championship or bust, but there's something to be said that every year in November, in December, your team actually matters and it's actually going to make the playoffs. It's consistency that I think helped them in the 80s to get all these fans, and I think they're trying to replicate it. But to your point, you got to win a couple. You got to win a few.
What is the legacy of the early 90s Bills? And I know Marv Levy got in the Hall of Fame. That's ridiculous to me. What did you accomplish? I just don't understand what the ultimate legacy is of teams like that.
So
you got close.
You got close. And I think they hang their hat on that no team will ever go 4 times again. Living in upstate New York.
Niners didn't even do that. Niners didn't even do that.
No. And
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
This Niner team reminds me a lot of the Donovan McNabb Eagle teams in the 2000s. If you remember, that team never really broke out. Had one chance to go to the Super Bowl, blew it against the Patriots,
Yeah.
and they were never really the same
true.
after that. So,
Yeah.
and Andy Reid was the
It's true.
coach, and he got better when he got Mahomes, the better quarterback. So
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. McNabb was good, not great. I'm with you on that. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was
no,
good.
he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
And his best season came when he had Terrell Owens. Whether he likes to believe it or not,
true.
Terrell Owens made him a lot of money as well.
No question about it. They don't really get along, do they?
No, they do not.
Well, Terrell Owens never gives any credit to any teammate he's ever had. His whole story is everyone held me back. I was the greatest. This coach held me back. This guy didn't believe me. He didn't throw me the ball. Like, that's one of the things I don't like about T.O. He's the ultimate non-team player.
I wish Steve Young had stayed. Steve Young never got injured, because I feel like there was one person that he did listen to, and you never heard a peep out of him. And Jerry too. Right?
Those two.
Steve Young.
Yeah, I mean, when T.O. was the number 2 wide receiver on that team, he was the greatest. He was devastating. But once he became T.O. and the number 1 guy, I was like, man, like, you're crushing Jeff Garcia, dude. He's actually really good. What are you doing? Yeah, you're crushing him. Yeah.
And you know what? I would rather take the personality out T.O. than Randy Moss, because T.O. never quit on the field like Randy Moss did.
True. T.O. was a much better competitor than freaking Randy Moss, who would actually not run the routes that you were like. If there was a route they called you to run a square in, this used to happen on the Raiders early in the season when they had the infield dirt on. He wouldn't run on dirt, and they wouldn't know. So he would just run go routes. They're like, hold on, dude, we asked you to run a square in. He's like, nah, Randy doesn't run on dirt. And they're like, well, that would have been good information to know before we signed you to the Oakland. Anyway, I got to take
Yeah. All right, I'll see you later.
Great to see you, man. All right. We got some great calls so far this morning. Papa Dragon, you are next.
Hey, there he is. What's up?
What's up, man?
You. What would I ask John Lynch? I would say, John, off the record, because that's when I get the best answer. What's your thoughts on the Cabo click?
Great question. Because, I mean, he played for Bill Walsh. He played for Tony Dungy. He played for John Gruden. Those guys wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be hanging out socially like they're friends with their players after the season. They wouldn't do that.
No. That would be my first question. My second question is, how do you think that impacts the non-Cabo clique?
Yeah.
In the locker room?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, because ultimately, you know, that is just not a success. That's not a winning formula of success. And what I mean by that, are they winning? Yes. They're winning with bully ball, but they also bully themselves.
They're always injured.
The highest injury rate in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So ultimately, I thought that Jet York had grown a little bit, and maybe he has grown a little bit. But the Cabo click thing's a big red flag, Jed.
Papa, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How does one join the Cabo clique what are the criteria to join that clique? What do you got to do?
I don't know, because if you think that Shanahan is absolutely free and clear of the situation, like, oh, that's the Jet thing, I think you're wrong. I think every one of those guys that goes to the Cabo situation is a friend of Kyle Shanahan.
Agree. You have to be a friend of Kyle Shanahan. 1, you got to be friends with the coach.
Yep.
2, you got to be rich.
Yep.
You got to be able to afford going to Cabo and staying at a really nice resort for a week and paying for it all yourself. And if you're on your first contract, chances are your money manager is going to say, don't do that. You can't afford that. You haven't made enough money. You haven't gotten your second contract. Don't go. Whereas someone like Debo, McCaffrey, all those guys that have gotten paid, and maybe they feel indebted to Kyle because, you know, Kyle calls the plays. I mean, would Kittle be a multi-millionaire right now if it weren't for Kyle Shanahan? Christian McCaffrey, yes. Trent Williams, yes. Kittle, use check.
It's situational. I mean, Kittle's got elite athletic ability, but I think he's another story. I really think that he's getting towards the end because he has such a hard time keeping weight on right now. So
he's got some wide receiver legs at this point.
I know.
Yeah,
and he's still trying to play like he did back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I believe that it's guys who are friends with Kyle Shanahan, and there's like this a bit of elitism. Either you're elite at your position or you're elitely paid. Whatever the case is, it's like it's like them saying, "Hey, you could be this too if you would just, do your thing, get paid, stay with the team like Kyle and all that kind of stuff." And that doesn't sound like Brandon Ayuk.
Also, like it's like it feels like you're celebrating, and you're celebrating with a particular portion of the team. It's almost like, look, the team lost, but we're the best portion of the team, and the other Brock Purdy, other guys let us down. Tyler Kroft, guys not here, but us six, we're successes, and so we are celebrating another successful year of our Hall of Fame careers. It's like, really, that's a strange culture to create.
It's a really strange culture because the engine that moves this car is the defense.
Yep.
And
where's the defense in Cabo? Where is it?
And Nick Bosa's not there.
Is Bosa there? No.
Nope.
No. Huh. Is Travarius Ward there? No. Is Eric Armstead there?
Nope.
Dre Greenlaw, he was there. No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
It's weird.
I know.
Yeah.
What's saying. They're going to move the car, so it's like, without this defense, let's just be frank. Without this defense, this would not be a competitive team. It wouldn't be. Because
the offense doesn't get its stuff together until November.
I know.
Late October. Halloween.
I tell people that. People that Kyle doesn't want to get anyone injured, so he runs club training camp.
Yep.
Right?
Club training camp.
Right?
Yep.
And then for them preseason.
No one plays in preseason.
Yep.
No one plays in preseason. So preseason September. Yep.
I had my Titans hat on. We got disconnected last time. I just wanted to tell you from the Nashville perspective that nobody wants Trey Lance here.
I don't think anyone wants Trey Lance in the league. If the Niners are giving up on him after 4 starts, what team is like, oh yeah, we want that? The Niners don't know what they're looking at. Kyle's an idiot. Let me get that. Who? Which team? I don't see it.
I was in physical therapy and around a bunch of dudes getting physical therapy. And then the whole concept of quarterbacks came up. And of course, I was like, well, what do you guys think about Trey Lance? And the first word out of somebody's mouth was bum. That was a first
Is
word.
That not the perception that the Niners have created for this kid?
They have created that perception.
Yes, they have.
The kid and turned into a bum to the outside world.
And now they're trying to get field trade offers. Like, what do you think you're going to get? You created this problem. You torpedoed his stock, and now you want to sell? Good job. Genius.
Now, the irony is that the two teams that have contacted the 49ers, one was the Colts, who have the guy who coached Jalen Hurts.
The guy I said the Niners should fire Kyle Shanahan and hire Shane Steichen. I wanted that guy, but now he's in Indianapolis. And everyone's like, oh, he'd be a perfect fit for Trey Lance. Yeah. Uh-huh. Exactly. That's why I wanted him.
No, I see that. I see that connection. And you were absolutely spot on. He was on my list of coaches to replace Kyle Shanahan. Because people say, well, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get?
That guy!
Grab off 5 names. Here you go. 5 names.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's from Sacramento. He's from Sacramento. He runs the kind of offense that would be perfect for Trey Lance. It was anyway.
Well, we all notice. I mean, most of us will not deny that was just franchise malpractice. Trading all those picks for a project and then playing him the way they played him. They didn't even play him like he played at North Dakota State.
They played him like it was Ohio State or something. I don't know.
Remember the one play where he went in preseason where he booted to the left, booted to the right, and threw it left for a bomb for a touchdown? He's like literally 14 yards behind the line of scrimmage where no one can touch him. We never saw that play again. Real quick,
my thing I was most intrigued about with Trey Lance was his ability to move on play action. How you can move the pocket left and right on play action. They don't do that with him very much, and when they do, it's a touchdown. Brock Purdy can do it very well too. He's very good on the boots, but when it's time to throw, he can't push it down the field because he has no arm. Trey can push it down the field. How many times have they called those for him? And when they call it, it works. Practice games, it works.
I think Niners fans, you and I both understand that the Yorks and the 49ers brass operate a business. And a business is based on what products people will buy and are interested in. And right now, that product is Brock Purdy.
He got a standing ovation at the Giants game the other day.
Yeah, Brock Purdy.
He's the people's choice.
Product. He is the jerseys that's going to sell like crazy this year.
Bobbleheads, jerseys, all that.
All that.
Cash register.
Product. And
he's free money because they're not even paying him. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm saying part of it is football, but also part of it is business. And what we're doing right now, trying to unload Trey, is they're trying to avoid the quarterback controversy. They're trying to ride this Brock thing as long as they can ride it, because right now to them it's successful on both sides of the board, and Jed's on board with it. He's totally on board with it, right? And one day, you keep it up, kid, you may just join a Cabo clique.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying to him.
Absolutely, we might give you that. Yep, that's right.
But with no offensive line, I still think all bets are off. That right side is still a bit shaky. You know, people sit there and say, "Oh, if Brock would have stayed in the game, they probably would have won." I'm like, no, they lost 2 quarterbacks. So
if Brock would have stayed in the game, he would have got hit again and again and again and again.
The plan was flawed.
And again,
he would have got hit.
And again,
probably, what, 21, 25
and
times?
Again. Easy. And again.
So the plan was flawed. The plan was flawed. Their concept of winning is flawed because, again, we're about to pay they're going to pay Nick Bosa $32 million a year. And guess what? He's going to get held in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Also, I want to say something. When they were in the Super Bowl and it was the fourth quarter, their offensive line blocked no one. When they were in the NFC Championship against the Rams in the fourth quarter, their offensive line blocked no one. When they were in the NFC Championship against the Eagles the entire game, their offensive line blocked no one. No one. It's not. Exactly. So when's that going to change?
I don't know, but I tell you one thing would look bad if Jimmy G gets through the whole season without catching a sexual transmitted disease and without getting injured. If he can do that, it's going to look bad for the 49ers.
You're done. Thank you very much, man. That was great. Love to see you, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. Later.
He just came out of nowhere with that one. Jimmy, I'm sorry. Sue him, not me. Rocky, are you ready? You just got to press the little thing. There you go.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. I just wanted to say real quick, so proud of this channel and you, man. I've been following you for a really long time, and
Thank you.
I'm pumped, dude. You're doing great.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
No problem, dude. But what I wanted to say, can you imagine what would have happened if we would have spent those 3 first-round picks to invest in the team with Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't want to say it. I was a Trey stan. I kind of still am. But could you imagine Parsons on this team? Could you imagine?
I was on the phone with Vish yesterday, and we were talking I think it's fair to say that trading up to 3 was a mistake. Once they got to 3, they took the guy I would have taken. But trading up to 3, I don't think there was a right answer once they got there. Your choice was the kid from North Dakota State who's played 1 year, or the Ohio State quarterback, or not a quarterback. Those are terrible choices in retrospect. Yeah. And you did it all during a pandemic with no combine, and you didn't really know any of these guys. That was the mistake, not necessarily who they took, just the aggressive move. And it felt emotional, almost like Jimmy was hurt and I'm mad and I don't know.
We don't want to fuck with Jimmy anymore. That's what it was. And
exactly all that. But they needed to replace Jimmy, but not like that. Not like that.
Not send him out of town on a rail, basically. And for what he did for this organization, for where they were at, for what he did for Kyle and for John, saving both their asses and their jobs, basically. Come on, dude. The way you sent him out was pretty heinous in my mind. And then, the biggest thing, this is what, to answer your question.
But I mean, hold on. Let's see it from the Niners' perspective. I think their perspective was kind of what the Patriots players' perspective was dude, yeah, you get hurt and it's not your fault, but you don't come back that quickly. And there was 2020 where he missed 10 games with a high ankle sprain. And then there was this year where there was words hey, he might come back. And I think that's why they didn't sign Roethlisberger. They signed Josh Johnson. I think they were hoping he would want to. And I think they felt like he let him on and didn't play, which I'm actually on his side on that. He shouldn't have played. But I think they felt, and I think Martellus Bennett feels this guy doesn't push hard enough to play, and he's the franchise quarterback. We need you out there more. I think that's kind of, you can't rely on you, dude.
That's the mentality in the NFL, though. This isn't the NBA. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't be Kawhi Leonard in the NFL.
And he's got a little Kawhi in him. He's got a little Kawhi to him, Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, he does. And I think that was their problem. Yep.
That's not the culture. Yeah. And then here's what I want to ask John Lynch is what the fuck, how can you do that? What your fans we trusted you. The big thing was when you traded those 3 first-round picks, I trusted the 49ers. I was look at all the development they've done. Right. Look at all these players.
It feels like a risky move, but the Niners are doing it, and
if anybody's going to do it,
yeah,
them.
They have a plan, and they're smart, and and then all of a sudden to just abort the plan after not even really starting it, it's wait a second, you let us on for 2 years. Yeah.
Those aren't
Yeah.
your fucking picks. I'm sorry. I get a
Yeah.
little emotional.
Yeah.
Those aren't your picks, dude. Those are the 49ers
Yeah.
picks. That's San
True.
Francisco's picks, dude.
True.
Like, what are you doing?
That's
Like,
right.
after those picks will keep coming after you're gone. Like,
Yep.
that's a fact, right? Those
Right.
don't belong to you, dude. Like, at the end of
Yes.
the day, when you make an investment like that, you got to fucking see that through. And they
I
didn't
think so.
give him a chance, dude. Like, they didn't even let him throw the ball, man. Like it must say something terrible about Trey. You know, I live in Denver currently, and Paxton Lynch was the big thing, you know, here
Right.
when they drafted him and he
Right.
blew it. And then they said that his thing was he was on the Xbox 24/7, wouldn't get off the damn Xbox, you know,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it was like a Madden superhero or something. And,
Okay.
you know,
He was
that's
better
the
at
problem with
Madden
Trey.
than he was at football. He was better at,
Yeah.
at virtual football than actual football. That's
He's
good.
like, I'm a
Yeah.
fucking great NFLer because, you know, I'm awesome at Madden. If you guys saw my
Oh,
Madden career
wow.
profile,
Okay.
you know. But anyway, is that the
Wow.
problem with Trey? I know you kind of have a little bit more insider
Haven't heard that.
knowledge.
Haven't
Haven't
heard
heard-
that.
Then what?
I think they
Why
felt
did
that he partied a little bit last offseason. Maybe they felt he was doing too much of that. He was 21, maybe 22.
Yeah. He was throwing
and he's
money at
he
those
went
road
from like
leaders.
little small town Minnesota or whatever to the Bay. And there was that video of him like making it rain. I think probably was a young man who made a couple young man mistakes. And then now you got Brock Purdy, who's a squeaky clean, super religious guy who probably would never do anything
And that's
like
who
that.
John Lynch is. That's who John Lynch is. Squeaky clean, Catholic, hardcore. And you know, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
like,
so
I'm
that-
not saying that that's
yeah.
a bad thing. Thank you, like, for your,
Yeah.
you know, what you've done
Sure.
for this organization. You've done a great job.
Sure.
But you need to not see that shit with your
Yeah.
emotion, because again,
Yeah.
like, your culture will be gone one day, and this team will
Yeah.
still be here.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Connecting it to Lynch. Yeah, absolutely. I could see Lynch being totally turned off by that. Dude,
Yeah.
we're handing
He's
you
like,
the
"Whoa."
team. We're getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, and this is what you do. I can see him being turned off by that.
Yeah.
Because
And then
Peyton
you're hurt
Manning
too.
would never do that, right? He would never do that.
Right.
Or yeah. But
But Peyton
hey, look,
Manning
I'm
had
not
that
saying Trey
history
Lance is a
in college.
franchise quarterback. I don't know. Maybe he's not. But again, like I don't think you can just send him away after a few bad practices, an injury, and a party. Like, wait a second, man. He's 22 still. You gotta. Because here's the thing. It's not the worst trade of all time yet. But once you trade him for a third round pick, it's done. It's over. He's off your team. It's officially the worst trade ever. Those three first round picks. It's officially a bust. It's officially incompetence. It's not official yet.
It's already kind of is, because first round picks play, bro. You trade three of
true.
those bad boys. You
true.
need to play. Maybe not
That's the
first
thing.
year, I'm fine
You
with
need to
that.
play him right away. Who trades up for the
Bro,
third pick and
who?
says, I'm going to sit him for a year? You can't do that.
Three
You
picks.
can't do
He's got
that.
3 picks, and he's not
Yeah.
playing. He's got to play.
In retrospect, he should have stayed in school. I don't understand what it ruined his career because he wasn't ready. He went to a team that was poor for him, and now he'd be in a much better position if he stayed in school.
Yeah. And here's the thing, dude. You lose a game in Chicago, and then you go out and you're doing that partying and throwing money at strippers or whatever that night. That's probably.
I don't know that that's what happened. I don't know that that's what happened. But the way that it came out made it seem like that's what happened. He lost, and then it seemed like more like that was a video that happened from the summer that got leaked at the wrong time. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. And honestly, I haven't released them, but I was getting pictures sent DM'd to me
I've heard you
all
mention
summer, being like, hey, man, this is your quarterback. And it wasn't doing anything bad. It was just, here he is at a party in Mexico. Here he is. And it's like, dude.
He's
like,
21. He needed to do
yeah,
that in
exactly.
college in North
Exactly. But it's like,
Dakota
man,
State.
like,
I
you're
had
the
to do
franchise
that,
quarterback of the Niners. You got to be discreet. Like, Jimmy's discreet. I'm sure Jimmy
Yeah,
does,
no one gives-
whatever he
gives
wants to
shit
do.
when I was out there acting a fool, you know what I mean? But you're
Yeah.
Trey Lance, you know, like
Right. Right.
do that.
And you haven't won yet. And it's controversial that you're taking this guy's job, right? A lot of people feel you got to hand it to you. And so you got to be above board. And look at Brock. He's doing everything right. Waving. What a wave.
Man, I hope he does great. I mean, I actually, you know, I love the kid. You know, he's a
Yeah.
young man too. I think, you know, I'd be proud for him to represent our organization, you know, but man, it's just the way that they blew it with Trey, dude, is just disappointing, man. Like
I just don't understand it going all in with Brock. It's like, you got him.
Don't make another
He might
trade
be a
like
starter.
that, Kyle John.
Yeah.
Don't make another trade like that, dude.
What are you
Because,
doing?
like,
No, don't.
Come on, don't do it
trade
again. Because that's you ruined that.
You ruined
But-
it. You ruined it. All right, man. Good call. Thank you, Rocky. Later.
Peace.
Call's been very strong today. Very strong. We got Niner Gang, John, Leon, and Marcus. And then that's it. Niner Gang. What's up?
What's going on, Grant? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
You know, another beautiful Sunday. You going to the draft stuff this week coming up?
Absolutely. Believe
Man.
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
let's ask John Lynch. Let's make a rule. Can we see 24 starts from a quarterback minimum before we try to throw a bag at him? Give up the whole world for him.
24. I mean, even that's light. Wow.
I'm
It's like a season and a half.
I'm trying to meet him halfway. You know, I'm with you guys 3 seasons. I'm all on that. But man, this dude, they're so aggressive, and I'm just at a point, man. I don't care who it is, Brock or Trey. I want bet great for both of them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts has started 34. And you don't forget, like, Brock Purdy, you know, he might not play much this year. He might take a while to come back and find his form. Then next year, if he bounces back, plays well, wins, and goes to the playoffs, after that, he's eligible for an extension. So this is something that could creep up on the Niners quicker than they think.
I think it's I don't think Brock's gonna I think he's kind of hit his ceiling, man. He's gonna have a rough year coming back. I just don't see it. I don't see him being out there being able to really do a whole lot more than what he did. We're getting older. You know, all these other teams have a lot more tape on him now. They're gonna have time to study him. He's coming back from an injury. What quarterback has come back from a serious injury and been successful? Trey's going to probably do the same thing. He's coming back off a serious injury too. We're in for a rough season.
I'm not so sure about this quarterback room, man. Like, what is Trey? No. What is Brock? What is Darnold? Honestly, man, like, those are 3 guys that you're essentially trying to fix. One guy blew out his arm. One guy blew out his ankle. One guy has no confidence and is a walking disaster. Those are your 3 quarterbacks.
Oh, no. I mean, their best bet would be go try and get DTR. I mean,
honestly, the franchise quarterback might not be on this team.
I could not agree with you more. I mean, both of these quarterbacks, the 2, Brock and Trey, are coming back from serious injuries. There hasn't been a quarterback that has come back from the following season from an injury that has had a positive season. They just don't. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, can you tell me one?
I can't think off the top of my head, but I trust you.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, and I could be wrong. I don't know for 100%, but I'm like 90% sure. And Sam Darnold, I mean, come on, 5, 7 seasons, whatever he's been in the league, you know what I mean? And you're still hopping around from here to there. You're competing with 2 rookies essentially. Come on, that should say it right there, you know. But
yeah.
I don't like it. I think if they're going to do anything, man, that they think they got a window, which I really don't believe we're in a window, to be honest with you. I mean, we got offensive line issues. We got cornerback issues, free safety issues. I mean, we got issues all across the board. We have no depth. Yeah, I mean, the ends are just no depth there. We don't know what's going to come of the right tackle.
You're talking about guys coming back. Dak had a similar injury. He came back, and he had a decent year in 2021. But to me, he's just not – he's slow now. He can't run very much anymore.
100%.
I mean, he used to be much more of a rushing threat. Now, I mean, he runs like not very much, not very well. I don't know. I mean, like he's still a good quarterback. He can throw from the pocket, but he also throws a ton of picks. Like I feel like he's not as confident as he used to be, and he's not as mobile as he used to be. Dak.
I feel like Dak tries to push it too much. I felt like if he just relaxed a little bit and let the team help him and not try to put the whole team on his shoulders every single play. You know, I just feel like he tries to do too much. You know, like Jimmy would do. Jimmy would try to do too much instead of taking the, you know, throw the ball away, throw the ball, dirt it. You know, they're trying to make something happen. They throw a pick. And it's always in a critical moment. You know, you live to see another play. You turn the ball over, it's game time, you know, and usually you have 2 turnovers in a game. That's usually cost you the game. There's very few quarterbacks that overcome that, you know, and
that's right. Yeah.
And I mean, Patrick Mahomes working out with Trey Lance, to me, that just says that Trey Lance is just extremely eager to get better. But we don't know. Nobody's going to know. Brock Purdy, I would imagine, is going to do the same thing, going to find the best that he could find, try to come back, make that arm work. But is he going to come back too soon?
Did you see that 3rd quarterback that was working out with Trey and Patrick Mahomes?
I did not. I did not.
See that was? He had a big fro too. He had a UCLA shirt on. He's a true freshman named Dante Moore, who's a big-time recruit. This dude is 18. I bet you he's better right now than all the quarterbacks on the Niners. Dante Moore. But I'm a UCLA fan. I'm a homer, so we'll have to see. But Chip Kelly recruiting. I'm a big Chip Kelly guy too. No, I'm just kidding. He was terrible with the Niners. He was so bad.
Yes. I agree.
He put up like 39 points a game though last year at UCLA. That's how I felt.
I
was so
I
excited
don't
to root
watch.
for Chip.
I don't get to watch a whole lot of college ball, man. I got a bunch of kids, man.
His defense is crap.
Yeah.
That's what you need to know about. Still awful. The worst.
Yes.
Come on, Chip. Yep.
Love it.
As bad
Real
as ever.
quick, man, I'm gonna let you go, Grant, because I know you got more people waiting. Golden State. What you think's gonna happen today? We're gonna tie it up today?
I think so. I think so.
You think,
dude, the
Draymond
Kings
learned?
never even competed in the last game. I think it's going to be key for the Warriors. The key for the Warriors in this game is to not play to play Draymond and Looney together as little as possible. As little as possible, because having Wiggins at the 4 in the last game, I felt like opened up the entire offense. And I think their defense has been fine in this series, but their offense was struggling. All those turnovers in game 2, the spacing's an issue. Once you get Draymond off or Looney off and you have 4 shooters, it's just so much easier. So I think that's key for them.
I think so too. I think they're going to pull it out, and I think ultimately they're going to come on top. And I think they're going to ride it all the way out, man. I really do. So
good to see you, man.
Grant,
always a
great
pleasure.
To see you. Thanks for taking my call. Have a great day, buddy.
Of course. You too, man. Jorge Luis Sotelo says, greetings from the 305. Going to Mexico City in a couple of days. Any restaurant wrecks? Go Brock Lance. Any restaurant wrecks? Man, I didn't really go to any fine restaurants. I went to a bunch of taco places. There's supposed to be a restaurant that's Michelin rated called Pujol, like Pujol. Pujol. It's supposed to be like the best restaurant in Mexico City. I didn't go because I wanted to go back with my wife at some point, but then we haven't gone. But yeah, that's supposed to be the one. That's the one. Pujol. Just a sec. Now we got John and Marcus. John.
What's up?
What's up?
Can you hear me? Is it working?
Loud and clear.
Good.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I want a quick rant on the Trey Lance trade possibility, but I wanted to just throw a quick thing out, because I know you're an East Bay guy. Just kind of say a RIP to the Oakland Coliseum and the Oakland Coliseum Arena. I don't know, a lot of people realize the history in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but a lot of us that grew up and went there, so many concerts, so many sporting events. I met Al Addles when I was a little kid in the Coliseum Arena. The history there is massive for a lot of us that grew up in the Bay. So just wanted to throw a quick.
It's such a fun place to watch a game. Such a fun place to watch a game. Yeah.
The end of an era over there, man. I remember riding the BART and rolling up. It rolls up right there, and always super excited. Whether it was
because every stadium like today is catered towards the richest people, right? It's all super nice, and you have to have money. So it's super expensive. Yeah. The Oakland, Coliseum was for everyone.
Dude, the bleachers
easily accessible. Yeah.
I sat there with all the poor people eating those nachos with jalapenos. I remember watching Ricky Henderson in the early 80s when he was getting the stolen base record, and it was nothing. We were poor when we were kids, and
Wednesdays, I think there were like $4 tickets. There were dollar Wednesdays. No, there were dollar Wednesdays, dollar tickets, dollar hot dogs. You would have the entire the entire high school would be, and you sit in those upper deck seats. They're like a mile away from home plate. It was like kind of being at an A's game almost. You could sort of, you could see it.
Honest, man, everybody
they were
would
fun.
On their feet, those crappy bench seats, and it was fun, man. It was
fun.
Memories, all the Day on the Green concert.
And they were a legit franchise in the 80s. They actually they had great teams, great players. They didn't turn into Moneyball until the 2000s.
Yeah, you had Run TMC Warriors too, which a lot of people forget about. I mean, they didn't win a championship.
And the We Believe team.
Yeah, those were fun times, man.
I was talking Niners.
But yeah, quick rant on Trey. So what I want to say is this, the Yorks, John and Jetty, they care about one thing. They care about optics more than winning. They care about optics and marketability. You heard it in Pareg's, lemonade comments, right? I mean, I think what you have here with Trey is kind of a double-edged sword, and Lynch being somewhere in the middle of it in the sense of this. I think that there's a certain portion of this wine and cheese fan base. I grew up around it. I grew up in Sonoma County. Just a certain portion, not everybody, not the blue collar fans that are on, talking to you and stuff, but that spend a lot of the money. I think there is a certain portion that are stuck in the past that want their franchise quarterback to look like young Joe Montana. They want a white guy that looks like them.
And they definitely don't want him to look like Colin Kaepernick.
No. There was a backlash on him back then too, I remember. And
tattoos? Oh my God.
Yeah, Brock Purdy comes along, and Is there anyone more marketable? He looks great. He's a nice kid. Everybody's in love with him. So from an optic,
He looks 15 years old. I mean, he's very marketable to the everyman. He looks like your child. He looks like your son, your friend. Yeah.
It's going well. A certain portion of our fan base, if Trey Lance does blow up, do we want
this kind of a quarterback?
Kind of like Lynch, right? He's the perfect face GM. He's a top guy.
True.
So then you go over to Shanahan. Anything he does with Brock, he's going to look like a genius because he's the last in the draft. So for Shanahan's ego, he's perfect. That's why Brady and A-Rod will never come, because I think also Mike, you talk about Mike a lot the last few weeks. I think we don't talk about him enough. I think the reason Brady never came is because Mike is tied to Elway, and the Shanahans have a complex. They don't want to be just like that asterisk next to their championship. Like, oh, well, if you bring Brady, it's just going to be like, it's because Brady came. So I think there's a little bit of that too. So I think for Kyle's ego, Brock also really fits the mold. So you've got this mixture of optics. There's other things.
And if Jed's not going to hold anyone accountable for Trey Lance, then why not pivot to Brock?
Yeah.
If he doesn't care, just move on. Yeah.
So the Yorks are probably on board with trading him. Kyle's not fully again. I think that Kyle was on board with Trey, but I think that now that Brock did what he did last year, and I'm not saying, look, Brock,
it takes the pressure off. Like you could just
good stuff.
Yeah.
And I do think he could potentially be great, but I just think the reasons they're trading Trey, those are a couple of factors that don't get talked about enough that I think are on the table. And I do think
it was funny, like when they almost drafted Mac Jones, I feel like a lot of Niner fans, like the blue collar ones, flipped out. They're like, I don't want a quarterback like this. I don't want another white statue. I think that's how a lot of fans felt. And so the Niners went the other direction. And then the silent majority, the wine and cheese, were like, hey, wait a second. This is not to my taste.
That's it.
This is not to my taste.
I mean, I hate to say it, but
I'm not prejudiced. It's just not to my taste.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, it's very smug kind of.
Yeah, it's not the way he looks; it's the way he plays. Like Right. Yeah,
it's like the Knights versus Oakland. It's just
Yep.
Up in both cities, I spent a lot of time in both cities, and I just think you've got a real kind of torn fan base. But the ones that spend the most money are the ones the Yorks care about the most. Let's face facts. It's business at the end of the day. They care about optics more than championships. They've been very abundantly clear and basically saying that without coming out and saying it. So I think what we have is and it's going to be interesting to see, because I think they probably will end up trading him, if not this year, next year. It'll be interesting to see if Trey ends up balling out. It's just going to be fascinating to watch how that domino effect of that happens.
True. Real quick, you're seeing it already, but the Niners can market, at least now, Brock Purdy as the next Joe Montana. He kind of looks like Joe. His hair is the similar color, the eyes. I mean, he's scrappy. He doesn't have a strong arm, but he's a gamer, and he's got poise, and he's, confident. I mean, you can do all that right now. And it's like, to your point, I do think a large section of the season ticket holders want the next Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Not just the next franchise quarterback, the next Joe Montana.
Yeah. And you saw that footage of him the other day at the Giants game, and all the fans are cheering. He gets up and, waves at everybody. It's like, that's kind of the thing they want. And his face, you look at that picture of John and Jed and Kyle, and that one that was just up with John's Yorks wearing that terrible toupee, but they all look a certain way. It's like a frat thing. The frat thing is real. And
correct.
I think I'm not saying that there's any racism per se. I just think they care about the face of the franchise having a certain marketability.
Well, remember, real quick, remember where the franchise was when they took over. Who was the face of the franchise when they took over?
Well, I mean, you had
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, you mean these? I was thinking about back.
This was the franchise that started the kneeling.
Yes, exactly.
It was the face of that.
Yep.
Then they came in, and now nothing like that anymore. No. Nothing like that anymore.
They got rid of Colin right away. I mean, one of the a decision that really made me worried about this regime was when they actually decided to bring in Brian, 5 interceptions in the first half, Hoyer playoff game. I thought that performance back, a lot of people don't remember when he played for the Texans, when he threw 5 interceptions and a half against the Chiefs in a playoff game. It was like the worst playoff performance I'd ever seen. So when they replaced Kaepernick with him, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I still don't understand why they did that. But
real quick. Marcus, you're next. 2-minute warning. Pull over. Marcus, you're next. Pull over. 2-minute warning. Sorry, John, keep going.
It was just optics. Everything about it works, I think, especially then. And I think even with Harbaugh to a point, the optics kind of crept into, and I have a feeling Harbaugh probably kind of called him out on it behind the scenes. He seems like the kind of guy that would have been like, F your optics, dude. You know what I mean? And
because Harbaugh only cares about winning, and I don't think he cares when anyone thinks of him.
I think so.
Look how he dresses.
Won a championship because I think he's actually a pretty badass coach, but he probably will eventually. But it's just the whole thing kind of stinks the way it's played out, and I think there's just a lot of factors that people don't realize that behind the scenes that factor into why Trey might get traded, because you're right. If they trade him, it's the worst trade in history, in my opinion, as well. And then if he goes on to be great, it even exponentiates that times like 10. I mean, what can you say, you know?
And I think what's interesting is you look at the Eagles again. Like the Eagles have for decades embraced black quarterbacks. Embraced them, from Randall Cunningham to Donovan McNabb to Michael Vick to now Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts was controversial. People thought when he came out, they were like, "Are you going to change positions?" He was a second-round pick, and they were like, "No, this is our guy. He's a franchise quarterback." And the team is also very African American. They rallied around him. They were like, "I don't care how he's playing. We believe in him. We believe in him." And they spoke it into existence. And I just feel like there's a difference. There's a stark difference between that culture and this culture. I'm with you on that, John. Thank you very much.
Hang out in Philly, and you just hang out in the city. It ain't. San Francisco is very different. It ain't Philly, man.
It's not. John, great stuff.
Best to you. Take care, dude. See you.
To you too. Marcus, last call of the day. Let's take it home, baby. Uh-oh.
What it do, Grant? How you doing?
What it do, Marcus? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I thought I was going to have the first Cohn phone call from a car wash a second ago.
Nice. Well, what you got?
I wanted to start off by saying that I'm a firm believer that you could, with the roster the way it's constructed, you could pretty much plug any NFL quality quarterback in and probably make the playoffs, if not go deep into the playoffs with this team.
Real quick. What you get is the number one defense in the league, the best group of weapons, and the best left tackle. Now, you're going to get hurt because they don't protect you. But until then, your numbers are going to be phenomenal. Look at Jimmy's numbers.
Which you just led me to my questions that I'm going to that I would ask Lynch, and it would start with, and I want to know position by position, who are your starting 5 offensive linemen? That would be my first.
Yeah.
As the roster is constructed today, and a follow up with that is how do you plan on bolstering this unit in the draft? And then my last question would be, how do you plan on keeping your quarterback healthy throughout whoever that may be in the 2023 season? Because that's been our issue. The only year that we haven't kept a quarterback healthy, we actually went to the Super Bowl. That was
correct.
19 with Jimmy. So
it's
a big deal. And the offensive line is a weak point, which is sad to say, especially with as good of a team as we have. And then depth this year obviously is lacking with how many people left the team. But yeah, that would be my few questions. Easy.
You know how many games Patrick Mahomes missed last year?
0.
You know how many games he missed the year before that? 0. So yeah, I think that's fair. That should be the expectation. I don't understand how the Niners act like, hey, why are you on our case for our quarterbacks getting hurt? Because it's just you.
Yeah.
It's you. Yeah. It ain't happening in other places. 4.
Not 1, 2, not 3.
4
in 1 year.
What? Yeah, that's fair, man. I'm with you on that. So where are you off to today, man? It seems like you got someplace to go.
Beautiful Southern California. No, I just got needed to get the Jeep cleaned, and now I'm gonna catch a lunch and maybe head to the park and do some working out. So
where you at in SoCal?
I'm in Glendale, right by Dodger Stadium, pretty much Pasadena.
Nice. I love that area. Over by is that like close to Rose Bowl?
Pretty much 10 minutes. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. All right, man. Well, enjoy yourself. Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely, man. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, man. Thank you very much, everyone. Tommy, Hertz's McSlab 2.0. Yeah, minus like 40 pounds, maybe 20 pounds. He's in better shape than McNabb. I think he's better than McNabb. McNabb wasn't particularly accurate. Hold on. Let me just look at McNabb was interesting. Donovan McNabb. Reed won a lot with him, but was he really that good? Okay. His career completion percentage was 59. I don't know. He threw 234 touchdowns and 117 picks. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Warriors played an hour and a half. I'll do a little instant react after that. And, starting Monday. Monday, usually I have 2 shows. Ryan in the morning. I got to talk to Ryan because I got to be down in Santa Clara tomorrow. John Lynch talks at 12, and I'll be recording that. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure I'll be on with Larry in the afternoon. I'll have to talk to Ryan about how we're going to handle our show. So stay tuned. I'll be back.